What's going on, guys? My name is Flame, and welcome everyone to a new episode of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. We're on episode 43, and with this anime here today, we get a lot of answers solved, which is kind of great because a little of this kind of mini arc that we're happening right here that we saw last episode at the ending is these mass dudes, which we thought, of course, are going to do bad stuff, and it's going to maybe turn into a little bit of a mini arc, and we get a lot of questions answered, which I'm kind of glad that we do, and of course, we get more in character depth of who these characters actually are. So with this episode here today, it kind of starts off of Boruto and the gang going down to the bank station yet again, because if you know from last episode, it was helping a guy that was going to kill himself because he thought that life wasn't really good for him anymore. You know, his life was kind of shit, and they rescued him from the bank. But with that, there was a little bit more of a storyline towards that. It was actually a distraction to keep Team 7 and the Hidden Leaf from figuring out what these guys' actual plan is to steal the jewels and the money that were from the bank. With this, their mission actually succeeded, and we get a little bit in depth of how they actually made this happen right here, because of course it's like a bank, it's a real life, there's a lot of motion sensors and it's really hard to actually rob a bank. So we get a little bit more questions that actually Team 7 figured out before anyone in the Hidden Leaf, if it was going to the Hokage or anything like that. It was actually cool of what Team 7 actually figured this out. And we get more, I guess, character development and more backstory to who these guys actually are. So with it, they're called the Byakuya clan, or I guess gang, you can call them. I'm saying Byakugan, it's Byakuga. It's really similar. It's kind of hard to say if it's that or Byakugan. It's so confusing. But with this kind of clan and what they are right now, their kind of purpose or their kind of mission is to give money back to the poor, which it doesn't really sound that bad. It feels like they are doing a good deed, but at the same time they are stealing stuff and they are wanted by, I guess, the Hidden Leaf police. So that's kind of what Boruto, Mitsuki, and Sada's mission is, but they don't want to pull it up more, of course, more higher up to the Hidden Leaf people, because with this mission, it's like their first mission right here. This is a B rank mission, and they figured not to tell Konohamaru or the Hokage or anyone else, because they think that they could do the mission here themselves, just like they did with the first mission, that they could handle it and they could do it. And it's also to build, of course, a good resume for, of course, them being ninja. And with this episode here as well, we definitely get a lot of Shikadai right here, which I'm kind of glad. We don't really see Shikadai in a lot of episodes. Of course, we get him and his family yet again. My boy Shikamaru, and of course we have Temari back again, which is pretty cool seeing, old characters from Naruto. And with this kind of arc right here, I feel like it's Shikadai's turn. We definitely get a lot of him throughout this episode right here. And of course, he's talking to one of the guys that are actually from this Byakuga, gang right here. We already know, this random character came out, him learning shogi for the first time, and him making, I guess, a new friend. This is definitely the guy that, of course, robbed the bank and is kind of like the leader, or the one that wore the mask that we saw at the ending of last episode. So it's kind of, I guess, friendship development, which we've seen in Naruto before, and I guess now it's adapting to Boruto. What's kind of cool about this episode here that I've seen, and I think a lot of people has as well, is Shikadai learning shogi. We kind of see him and his father play it at their home, and it kind of reminded me of how Asuma Sensei teach Shikamaru that back in the day, and it's now Shikamaru teaching his son Shikadai. So it's kind of, I feel like you could definitely see that throughout this episode right here. If you saw, that back in the day till now, it's just weird how more of the generation has begun. But I feel like it's kind of those sad moments seeing that, but it's a really cool thing as well, seeing, the new generation pop up, and Shikadai kind of being more like his dad. So we kind of see a little bit of a funny part as well of Temari just not really getting paid attention as well, of Shikadai and Shikamaru always talking, so she kind of breaks their house, which we definitely always see comedy throughout Naruto and Boruto. This as well, it's like you kind of agree with the enemies in this episode right here. Like I said before in this review, their kind of goal and mission is to give back to the poor. As you see, Mitsuki, Sarada, and Boruto encounter this guy in the train tracks kind of outside. Well, I think it's in the village, but it's just really far away from the village. I don't know if they're outside of it. It was kind of confusing with this episode, but I feel like they're still in it. Just because I feel like if they go outside the village, they definitely will be in a lot of trouble. So with this right here, he's kind of leading them to Boruto, Mitsuki, and Sarada of why he's actually doing this. And we see him in top of this, high village, where it's definitely a poor village. They don't get water, they don't get food. and he's telling them that they definitely need this more than the rich. The rich are thieves. We're not thieves. They just do bad stuff all the time while we wait here and die. So it's like you kind of agree with them a little bit, and it definitely hits Boruto as well that, they feel like they definitely deserve this. He's seeing people around him happy that they just got water here for the first time. He's using that money to use this kind of wheelbarrow mechanism that they have to get water from the river back up to their village right here. But at the same time, it's just kind of a bad thing because they are stealing from the hidden leaf and that they can become criminals. But I feel like they don't really care about that. They feel like they just help these people get this money and make them survive. That's more important than them getting thrown in jail, which I feel like is a good thing, what these people do. But, you gotta always stick with the hidden leaf. You always gotta stick with the characters because you feel like they're doing the right thing. But I definitely have heart to what these guys are doing. That's kind of what the episode was here today, is kind of just figuring out, the mystery, the background of who these characters actually are. If you agree with them or not, personally, I feel like I do agree with them. And, definitely more, I guess, character development for Shikadai and what he's going to do with his friend right here. Are they going to have a fight in the future? Because that kind of looks like what it's going to be starting up right here is, hey, building a cool friendship, but then afterwards you'll be fighting each other. I don't know. We've seen this before in Naruto, and now we're just going more into Boruto. That's really what the episode was today. With this episode right here, it was alright. It was kind of a good episode. I definitely will give it a 7 out of 10 right here today. It's just definitely like it's starting like a new arc again. It's just like going to like a simple thing that we all know, and it's gonna build up and up and up. Like with this, I feel like it's gonna be like maybe 2 more episodes of this kind of like little mini arc that were happening. Also, what we get in this episode here today as well is the scientist dude that we see. Of course, if you ever watched the Boruto movie that came out like last year or something like that, we see him again, which of course we're probably going to see more in the future and etc. like that. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed this episode here today. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions of today's episode. But I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. Thank you guys so much for checking out my review right here and more of Boruto and what's going to be happening next week, of if they're actually going to fight these enemies, what's going to happen, and etc. like that. But much love. Have a good day, guys, and I hope to see you next week for another Boruto review.